SRi is the main reason Once Driven Forever Smitten exists. In this video we focus on a pair of early Mk3 SRis and look back at one of Vauxhall's most successful and best loved cars. I was 6 years old in 1986 and my dad traded in a horrendous Chrysler Alpine for a B-Reg Mk3 Cavalier 1.6 GL, which proved to be an excellent car. My hometown of West Calder, located 20 miles west of Edinburgh, was home to a Vauxhall dealership called Wood's Garage, and many of my friends' dads had Vauxhalls. They were everywhere and I would scoop up armfuls of brochures and take them home to memorise. While my dad's Cavalier was a great family car and did all he needed it to, I really wanted him to get a fast one. During the late 80s we would go to football games with his friend Alan, who owned a Mk3 Cavalier SRi 130 saloon in Monaco Blue. I don't remember the matches so much, but I remember the feeling of being pushed back in my seat under acceleration from the car, the induction growl of the fuel-injected engine and the effortless speed. Alan was never one for hanging about. It soared past 100 miles an hour with ease and I was truly smitten. That car was unfortunately stolen, but was replaced with an H-Reg SRi and I liked that just as much. I remember us being late for a game and the Cavalier tailing a motorbike down the M8 motorway at 110 miles an hour. These were the most exciting cars in the world to me at the time. My dad later bought a Cavalier L 1.6 carburetor, brand new, in 1991, despite my strong protests for him to get a 2 litre. His brother, my uncle David, had an identical Cavalier L, except his was the 2 litre, and while not as exciting as the SRi, it still showed how potent any 2 litre Cavalier was and how they stood out way ahead of the 1.6 and 1.8 litre cars. As years rolled by, the Cavalier SRi became one of the most popular cars of the 90s car culture explosion. The reps and the dads who loved the cars from new passed them on to a whole new generation, who eagerly tuned and modified them, and as was often the case with performance Vauxhalls, a few aftermarket upgrades could really transform them, especially in the handling department. I bought my first SRi in 2001 for £150, a G-Reg white hatch which I put 25,000 miles on before rust killed it. It was tatty, but I didn't care. We sorted the mechanicals out and it never failed to put a smile on my face. Most of them lived hard and died young, and today the original pre-facelift SRi is once again a sought after car. The original 8-valve SRi was a car that really punched above its weight. Vauxhall's manufacturing tolerances seemed to lead to some engines of this era being more powerful than others, and many 20 SEH engines produced well in excess of the listed 130 horsepower. They'd give problems to many more prestigious cars and could outgun a lot more nimble, smaller hot hatches at the top end. And the funny thing is, the SRi wasn't even the top sports model. That went to the GSI 2000, which had the iconic 2 litre 16-valve XE engine. But the GSI was a lot more expensive and a lot rarer. The SRi was the real working class hero. It's great to see survivors today in 2023, and thankfully there seems to be a reasonable number out there, thanks mainly to the sheer popularity and the numbers sold. We have 2 SRis for you here in this video, the F-Reg hatchback owned by Gary, who we met at the Festival of the Unexceptional. This car has been fully restored and looks as good as new. We also have an H-Reg saloon owned by Jay. He bought the car recently and it has spent a number of years off-road before being recently recommissioned. It's in need of a freshen up in some areas, but it's a great, honest and original example. Hello, welcome to Once Driven Forever Smitten. I'm here with Gary Payne, who we met at Festival of the Unexceptional. He's got this F registration Cavalier SRi and we're going to be having a little drive in it, and I'm also going to be telling you the story, some of the background on these cars as well. So hope you enjoy this one. We've got some good footage coming up on it. So what is it you do for a living?
So I actually work in car insurance claims, so that's my day job. that's where it'd be during the day.
See, you can see how nicely put together this. It's smooth as anything.
Cheers.
Just exactly how a Cavalier SRi should be.
Yep.
Because you did used to get a lot of tired ones.
Yeah.
But this one, you can feel straight away. There's no knocks or there's no squeaks or rattles or anything out it. It's just.
Yeah. So you tend as well, like most people do mess about with them. There's people who would really change them and mess about with them, but no, I would always keep this standard. I would never modify this. I would never change it. I would just keep on top of it, keep it tidy.
That's what the value is in them now.
Yep. Yep.
And there's a lot to be said for the standard experience out one as well, because they were so good from the factory. That's where they gained their reputation, was as a standard car. You didn't need to do anything to them.
Yep. Yep. Even by modern standards, it's still is a quick enough car. It does hold its own, like it really, really does.
Yeah, they're quiet and they're comfortable. You could use them every single day.
Yep.
I mean, you could drive them hard every single day as well. They'll put up with it.
Yep. Yep.
How long have you owned it for?
So I've owned it since August last year. I haven't really been driving it that much. When it was bought, visually it hasn't really changed at all. I've done a couple of wee things just to tidy it up, but the majority of the work's been done on it. It's been mechanical, to be honest. There was a couple of niggly engine things that needed sorted out, but they're all glossed over, so runs and drives brilliant.
Yeah, you must get quite a lot of interest in it at petrol stations and out in the road, things like that. People asking you questions about it.
Yeah, you do indeed. Anywhere you go, there's days. One of the things I like most about this car is just the drive of it, and there's days you want to just go out and go for a drive and just be yourself, be on your own even, and there's just people coming over and wanting to chat to you about it and speak to you. But like, to be totally honest, if it was me and I was just out and about and I saw one of these, I'd be the same. I'd want to go over and chat to the owner and ask a bit more about the car.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not many of these left, especially not on an F-Reg as well. Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
Sound. Well, that's been fantastic. I've really enjoyed that, being back out in a Cavalier SRi again and all that fun shooting it. Thanks, Gary, for bringing it out. I hope you enjoy the video.
Yep.
And it's great to see a car kept as original like that. Thanks very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Catch up with you again soon. Take care. Cheers. many Vauxhalls have you had? You had a few old Vauxhalls.
Far too many.
Right.
Or not enough, depends how you look at it. But I had... First one was a Mark II Astra Saloon.
That was the Bellman.
Yeah, the red one.
That wasn't that long ago, was it?
No, the beige Mark III.
beige.
The beige, yeah. I bought that. It was a pre-production press Cavalier SRi.
Right. Well, an IF Reg, like in parchment, sort of beige colour.
Yeah. And I got that off an old lady. She came up to me and offered, can I speak?
She offered you the car?
Yeah, she
oh,
offered
that's
me
alright.
the car. Because I was driving old cars when she came over.
So this will be quite a step up then in performance for what you've had previously.
Not half.
A little bit faster though, 1.6 anyway.
How you enjoying it?
Probably the best car I've had, to be honest.
They're really good to drive. Everything about, like the way the gearing is matched to the engine's just perfect on them. That's why they go so well.
It's got a nice gear change as well.
Yeah, we've been in agreement for quite some time that the Mark III Cavalier is probably one of the best all-round classics you can get. So I think the SRi, or a bit more of a performance model, was in the making at some point. It was always going to happen.
Yeah, they always said that. You know, the SRi was just such a good all-rounder. It could do everything well.
Motorways and a little bit of spirited drivers.
Yeah, we've done. I mean, between us in Cavaliers, I think we've done like upwards of 30,000-40,000 miles, maybe.
Yeah, well, I got this on 103, and it's 107,000 now.
The more you use them, the better they go. Right? They're happier if they're getting used. And these things love a booting. Like, it seems to, if you keep running them on super unleaded with the octane plug flipped and keep giving them a booting, they just get quicker and quicker.
Italian tune-up.
This gets plenty of those.
But yeah, for long distances, we went to pick up a Volvo 440 for Jay one time. We took my Cavalier and it wasn't too long after I got it, but I was like, from now on, only car we're doing long trips in is the Cavalier.
Cavaliers, yeah. Smooth and just work. Too many people.
That probably sounds like we're limiting ourselves to like one car, but we don't do any of the new car shite. So. Yeah, this road after dark is kind of our stomping ground since Jay's dad lives along here.
You can see, yeah, one of the major differences with these is the F16 close ratio gearbox, which keeps the engine on song all the time. And it's never really coming out the power band. The normal F16 and all the other cars is super long geared. It makes it good in the motorway, but it doesn't have that in-gear flexibility that the SRi has. Because the SRi's got harder springs on it and gas dampers and operated anti-roll bars as well. There's quite a lot going on with an SRi that the normal one doesn't have. I think a huge difference in mine when I put gas dampers on it, like with fresh ones all round. What a difference. They're quite cheap, they're easily available on eBay. People say they're hard to get parts for, but they're not.
Nice and cheap.
Standard SRi engine noise and exhaust note as well, just nice and muted. It's not, you don't get like big exhausts on them and they just sound shit. And they don't give you any more power either because the standard exhausts are 2 inch straight through anyway.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like, if you got any performance exhaust you buy for one of these, won't be any better than what's on it.
People keep telling me to put...
Well, you can't.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I've got him on camera anyway.
Yeah, people keep telling me to put like stupid DTM back boxes and stuff on.
completely standard. Like you got one and there was loads of stuff missing and you had no choice. Well, that bit's original, no way. It's a hard piece to even take the fuel trims off them because it looks so good standard anyway.
Absolutely.
That's my plan, is just leave it.
Yeah, you wanted to lower it when you got it, but I forbid him to.
But you could get away with lowering it if you got a set of Eibach springs, which are the only ones that I would put on them. Eibachs, you've got to get them made to order, but they're miles ahead of anything else. A set of Eibachs would lower it like 30 mil and you wouldn't notice that. Well, a set of like Bilstein black dampers, it would handle like it's on rails. But I wouldn't put any other springs on it because none of them would be as good as the standard ones.
Be better than my Corsa B springs, that's for sure.
Have you got Corsa springs in your Cavalier?
Just on the back. So it was just a stupid thing. I was like, I wonder if they'll fit. Obviously they would.
Jack it up and fall out.
Yeah, they do.
Well,
that happened when we went to get that Volvo, they fell out.
Fell out on the motorway.
It was rested up against the fuel filler neck and somehow didn't damage anything. Just lifted it up, popped it back in. Hasn't bothered me since.
Fantastic. Right, well after I shot the first section of the SRi video, I realised that I needed some more footage, and it just so happens that Jay Shields here has an H-plate SRi, lives not far from me. This is his mate Jude Black, who also owns a Cavalier, a limited edition Colorado. So thanks for bringing the car out today, Jay. So we were talking a bit when we were driving up and down the road about your story with Vauxhalls and things, but we'll just go back over it again here. So you've had this car for a couple of months?
About that,
2 months on the dot, I think.
Yeah.
2 months. This is your first kind of high performance Vauxhall?
Too fast for me, I'm going to kill myself in it.
Oh well, no, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. Yeah, so you ended up buying it off a guy who came to buy fuel trims?
Yeah, for this.
And it's in original unrestored conditions. You and your dad have got plans for it over the winter?
Yeah, get that engine rebuild because it's not the best. Yeah, probably paint both quarters as well because they're also not the best, but that's about it.
I don't know, it's a really good honest example which is very hard to find these days.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't think you have any shortage of people trying to line up to get it off you should you put it up for sale, which I don't think you will. You seem really happy with it. How old are you guys?
I'm 20 and he's
19.
19, so right, so I mean, these are the cars, I'm 43 and these are the cars that I was mucking about with 25 years ago. So how come you guys are into these?
Our dads?
Yeah.
I was brought home from hospital in a 24 valve Senator, and my dad always had random stuff when I was growing up. So.
My dad's had probably near 1,000 cars.
Wow.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Even right now there's about 20 cars at the house, just old shape.
And between us I think we've got 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Good effort,
Not all Vauxhalls, but
old stuff.
Yeah. No, but this marks a bit of a departure. I think this would definitely be one holding on to and investing a bit into because...
Yeah, fix all this.
Yeah, I mean that's just minor stuff though. The problem you get is when it gets into the chassis legs and right deep into the sills and the bulkhead. But this, this one's nice and dry underneath it and everything. And yeah, it's a really nice example of an SRi, which of course, as we'll be talking about in the video, as to how important a car this was for Vauxhall and how much it means to so many different people as well. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's been good. I mean, thanks very much, guys. Thanks for bringing the car out. Thank you. Cheers. So yeah. I'm really hoping this video comes out as well as I think it's going to. We've got a big variety of shots and everything for the cars there, so.
The Mk3 Cavalier was launched in October of 1988 and it was highly anticipated after the enormous success of the Mark II, which had spearheaded Vauxhall's resurgence, cementing the brand's position as the second biggest in the UK market behind Ford. Ford and Vauxhall dominated the fleet car market with vehicle trim levels a complex hierarchy. What you drove directly reflected your status and the respect you could command on the road. The 1980s were an exciting time. While modestly powered carburetor-fed engines and 4-speed gearboxes were still common and sunroofs and radio cassette players were considered a big deal, as you went up the family car trim levels you'd find potent fuel-injected engines, 5-speed gearboxes, fat tyres and bigger brakes. Vauxhall introduced the SRi to the Cavalier range in late 1982, providing a hot hatch package in a family-sized saloon or hatchback. The 1.8 litre 115 horsepower fuel-injected SRi was immediately a huge success, It didn't have a direct rival from the Sierra, and both fleet and private buyers quickly grew to love the sporting Cavalier. There was a facelift in 1984 with the addition of a very close ratio gearbox, and again in 1987 where things got especially interesting with the arrival of the 2-litre SRi 130. Powered by the 130 horsepower 20 SEH 2-litre 8-valve, these late model Mark IIs featured alloy wheels, front fog lights and red 130 decals on the side and rear. They were raw, power steering was only an option, and they were light, the saloon tipping the scales at just 1,030 kilograms. The SRi 130 was a fast car, especially in the context of many slightly older or lower specification cars. The reps loved them, but so did the joyriders, with the car presenting a bit of a problem for some police forces at the time, and it was often one of the most stolen cars in the country. Arriving at the end of the Mark II's production run in the 87 and 88 model years and sold alongside the standard SRi, initially in 1.8 form and then in 115 horsepower 2-litre 20NE form, it was the 130 that developed a real cult following. Now the Mark II had a good run, but it was old and in need of replacement by 1988. The stakes were high for the Mark III, but thankfully Vauxhall absolutely nailed it, with the car reaching ever greater heights of success and displacing the Sierra from position as market leader. Vauxhall sold 100,000 Cavaliers in 1989 and 133,000 in 1990. From launch in 1988, the Mark III SRi used the same 20 SEH engine, and it did put on a little extra weight, but this provided far greater refinement and comfort, with a modern aerodynamic design giving a drag coefficient of 0.29 compared to 0.37 for the Mark II. Vauxhall kept the SRi simple to keep it affordable. There were wheel trims instead of alloy wheels, and there was a set of sport seats and a 3-spoke steering wheel on the inside, but the 1989 cars didn't even come with electric front windows. That didn't come in until 1990 as standard. Power steering was standard though, as well as much improved brakes with discs all round. The SRi had uprated rear anti-roll bar and gas shocks with stiffer springs all round. It was immediately recognisable thanks to its red stripe trim, black grille, headlight wash wipe, side skirts and boot spoiler. There were 3 generations to the Mark III SRi, with the pre-facelift the longest running from 89 to 92 model years. The 1989 F and G-Reg cars had Bosch ML 4.1 Motronic management. Now, certain SRIs have proven to be very quick over the years, and in our direct experience they were generally G-Reg cars. Was there any sort of advantage to the ML 4.1 management, which was only there for a year before being updated with M1.5, which is a more advanced version? We can't be sure, but we'd love to have seen some dyno readouts from back in the day to see if that was the case, but it's purely a bit of theory on our part, because of course the ones that came after were often quick as well, but for us there's something a bit legendary about certain G-Reg cars from our experience. Now, 1990 added electric windows, 1991 brought in ABS as standard, along with the option of a catalyst-equipped C20NE 115 horsepower SRi, which cost more for less power. The only people that would reckon that would have taken those on would have been car fleets, which would have been taken on a policy of having all catalyst-equipped cars at the time. You could tell them apart when new, because they would not have the oval exhaust pipe. And if you looked closer under the bonnet today, if it's got a lambda sensor on a pre-facelift SRi, then it's an NE and it's not a 130 SEH engine. That's the easiest way to tell. 1992 added a thicker steering wheel, circular griffin logos, lumbar adjustment to the seats, and along with some trim changes. Notably, 1992 flame red cars have the anthracite interior as opposed to the grey/beige of all other years. The 20 SEH was finally dropped when the range was facelifted in October 1992, as the engine was never equipped with a catalytic converter, and perhaps curiously Vauxhall opted not to add a catalyst to the engine and make it a C20 SEH. The 1993 SRi on the facelift moved to using an updated C20XE engine previously only found in the GSI, becoming the SRi 16 valve, with a 115 horsepower NE model also available, which retained the 14-inch wheels and wheel trims. That model only lasted for a year, with the 1994 SRi taking the X20 XEV 2-litre Ecotec engine with 136 horsepower. The final 1995 cars came with the Albany interior, available in anthracite only. That trim was previously available as a reduced cost option on the Cavalier Turbo if you didn't take the leather. And there was also an update to the alloy wheels, with the Cesaro type alloys replacing the fan blades on the last cars, as well as the option of air conditioning, which you couldn't get on any other year apart from 1995. We've never personally seen an SRi with air conditioning. It would be interesting to know if there are any still out there. To conclude, the car was a success right from the start, and the SRi was always one of the most sought after Cavaliers. It was a near perfect package and had no direct rival for most of its lifespan. Although there were cars such as the 405 SRi and the Nissan Primera SRi which came along, but they never sold anywhere near the amount that the Cavalier SRi did. The Cavalier SRi was a family car that behaved like a hot hatch. The 2-litre engine became renowned for its potent performance, almost seeming to get better with age, and that was optimised by the close ratio F16 5-speed gearbox, which gave excellent overtaking ability, as well as allowing you to wring every last bit of grunt from that torquey 8-valver, which provided plenty of mid-range punch, along with pulling surprisingly hard towards the red line. Do you own a Cavalier SRi? Did you have one in the family? What's your experiences with the car? We would love to hear your memories or stories in the comments, and we hope you enjoyed this video. Finished with my Tech 2 diagnostics, but I heard something on the car. Oh yeah, it's Bob. You cannot stay there, Bob, because I'm about to drive away. Really?